All right, so in Chapter 15, we're going to be building on the ideas we learned in Chapter 14. We're just going to extend them. So we're going to start with our ORs. Remember, OR means add. So we're back to our little examples with really simple, just a couple shapes, just to help us see what's happening. So I'm going to ask what's probably we choose a red shape. Hopefully that's pretty quick for us to see. 2 out of 6. Probably we get a triangle where there are 3 triangles out of the 6 shapes. So probably we get red or a triangle. Well, if we just remember OR means add, then I'm going to add my red plus my triangle. So that gives me 2 6 plus 3 6. That gives me 5 6. But I'm going to take a minute and verify that with my picture. I'm looking for things that are red or a triangle. Well, this one is red or a triangle because it's a triangle. This one is red or a triangle. This one is red or a triangle. This one is red or a triangle. Oh, I only circled 4. So the answer here should be 4 6. That means something strange is happening. Why did we get 5 6 when we added them together? Strange. Let's do it in slow motion so you can see what happened. All right, if I take the probability of red, okay, remember that I'm thinking about these ones right here, okay, the 2 6. So that was this guy and this one, okay. Those are my 2 out of 6 reds. Now I'm going to do this in green. I'm going to highlight my triangle. This one, this one, this one. Hopefully you're seeing there is a small problem. I have X'd this red triangle twice. It got counted twice. That's not fair. It doesn't have a twice the chance of coming out. So I need to take off one of these X's. I don't know if I can do that with this giant eraser. Okay, but one X has got to come off. It should only be X'd once. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a little piece of information here. I'm going to subtract, right? That was like taking off the X, the things that are red and triangle. So if I subtract that one red triangle that got counted twice, that will give me the right answer here, 4 out of 6. So this is what we call the general addition rule. General because it always works. Always works. Our general addition rule says if you want the probability of A or B, okay, that's my little shorthand for or, you take the probability of A and you add the probability of B. We've been doing that all through Chapter 14. And now we're going to subtract the things that are A and B at the same time. Some students prefer to see this with our Venn diagram. Okay. Remember, this Venn diagram situation is not disjoint or not mutually exclusive. So if this circle represents my A's, this circle represents B's, I've got my probabilities of A's, and I add on my probability of B's. And what I'm doing is I'm subtracting this section. Okay, that's what's happening here. I'm subtracting it because it got counted twice. So that's what we're doing for general multiplication rule. Excuse me, general addition rule. Now, some might wonder, well, Ms. Curtis, but what if it looked like this? What if it was disjoint, okay, where they had no outcomes in common? Well, then this would make it pretty easy for us. I have my A's and my B's. I would have my probability of A's. I would add my probability of B's. And I would subtract. Well, they have nothing in common. So I'm subtracting 0 here. So this is the situation we had in Chapter 14. They were always disjoint. And so we simply added the 2 things together. Now we're getting a little bit more complicated, and we have to remember to subtract the overlap. So that's what's happening. All right, let's move on to one more big idea. And I'm not going to tell you what this big idea is. We're just going to start. Probability, I did change the picture, okay, just a little bit. Notice I changed this triangle to be yellow, just to switch it up. So probably I choose a yellow shape. Well, there are now 3 yellow shapes out of 6. So probably I choose a triangle. 3 out of 6. Okay. Now suppose I tell you that I've selected a yellow shape. Imagine I'm holding it in my hand, but I'm not going to show you what it is. But I tell you a little secret. I tell you it's yellow. And I'm not a liar, so you know that the shape is yellow. Now let's think about these 2 questions. I'm actually going to do triangle first. If I tell you the shape is yellow, what's the probability it's a triangle? Don't say 3/6. If I tell you the shape is yellow, those are the only 3 things it could be. There's no way it's that blue circle, because I told you it's yellow. So I'm choosing out of 3 now. What's the probability it's a triangle? Well, there are 2 triangles out of those 3 yellow shapes. So now, probability of triangle is 2/3. Check it out. It was 3/6. Now it's 2/3. Weird. Okay, what's the probability it's yellow? Well, I told you it's yellow. So there are 3 yellow shapes out of 3 yellow shapes. That's 1. Okay, I told you it's yellow. What's the chance it's yellow? It has to be, because I told you it's yellow. Okay, 100% certain. Wow, probability of yellow was 3/6, and now it's 1. So what changed? Why are these answers different? Hopefully you're thinking, well, because we knew it was yellow. So we knew some information already. That information we know is called a condition. A condition. So this takes us to what's called conditional probability. Okay? When we know information already. So here's the notation you're going to see, the way I write it. That vertical bar, this thing right here, we read in the English language as the word given. So if I was to read this out loud, this would be the probability of B given A. Okay, that's how we say it. So the question I asked right here, I said, suppose I tell you it's yellow, what's the probability it's a triangle? That's the same as this. What's the probability it's a triangle given that the shape is yellow? What's the probability it's a triangle if I tell you ahead of time it's yellow? And here's a definition we're going to be able to use to help us out a little bit there. So the probability of B given A, if I have this conditional statement, I can calculate it by taking the probability of A and, remember that's and, A and B, and dividing it by the probability of A. There's a formula that's going to be on your formula page to help you out. Yay! So let's go ahead and do that with the triangles and the yellows. Okay. So what's the probability I have something that is a triangle and yellow? Now when we do these, we do them with the whole situation, because we might not necessarily have a picture. So what's the probability of something that's a triangle and yellow? These ones. 2 out of 6. So this is 2 out of 6 divided by probability of A. That's this thing. So that's yellow. What's the probability of yellow? Well, there were 3 yellow shapes. If I remember something from my fraction days, if I have a fraction divided by a fraction, we multiply by the reciprocal. 2/3. Check it out. 2/3. So our answers match. So this is a definition you can always use when you're working on conditional probability.